Hello and welcome to the last and the fourth part of Essentialism video series. This part is Execute. How can we make doing the vital few things almost effortless? This part has six parts in it, six chapters: buffer, subtract, progress, flow, focus, and be. Okay, let's go through them. A non-essentialist assumes the best-case scenario will happen, whereas an essentialist builds in buffer for unexpected events. A non-essentialist forces execution at the last moment, whereas an essentialist practices extreme and early preparation. A buffer can be defined literally as something that prevents two things from coming into contact and harming each other. So use extreme preparation. Instead of hoping for the best case scenario, be prepared for the worst. Always add 50% to your estimate. Let's see an example. Roald Amundsen and Robert Falcon Scott both had same objective to set a record to be the first people in the modern history to reach South Pole. Now let's look at what they did. Scott, a non-essentialist, Amundsen, an essentialist. Scott hoped for best case scenario. Amundsen was prepared for anything and everything that could possibly go wrong. Scott brought only one thermometer and was furious when it broke. Amundsen brought four thermometers. Scott stored 1 ton of food, whereas Amundsen stored 13 tons of food, and this was for about 17 men in their group. Scott stashed supplies for return journey with a single flag, meaning if he went even a fraction off course, his team could miss it. Amundsen stashed supplies for return journey in different spots marked with 20 markers miles apart to ensure that his team would see them. Scott's men suffered fatigue, hunger, and frostbite, whereas Amundsen's men had frictionless journey. Scott and his team tragically died, whereas Amundsen and his team successfully made the journey. Now you know why buffering is so important. Let's go to the next part, which is subtract the constraints. You can make incredible progress if you can find the constraints. Constraints hold the whole system back. Let's look at an example. Alex Rogo, in the business parable The Goal, goes out on a hike with his son and some of his friends. As a scout leader, it is his responsibility to make sure that all boys reach campsite before sunset. He soon runs into a problem. Some of the scouts go really fast and others really slow, especially Herbie, who is the slowest, resulting in a gap between the hikers at the front of the line and Herbie the stragglers, which is miles long. He thinks of two solutions. Solution 1: make the group in the front to wait so that the stragglers can catch up. But again, as they start walking, the gap again grows. Solution 2: put Herbie at the front of line and line up others in the order of speed, slowest to fastest. Voila! All boys now start walking in a single group. Every boy can keep up with the boy in front of him. Great, now they are all together. But because everyone is walking at Herbie's speed, the slowest hiker, they are going to be late. Solution: Alex takes the weight from Herbie's bag and distributes it to the rest of the group. This improves the speed of whole group immediately and they make it to the camp in a good time. This example is very much applicable in team dynamics at work. So a non-essentialist piles on quick fix solutions, whereas an essentialist removes obstacles to progress. Non-essentialist does more, essentialist brings forth more. So, I have a question for you. What is the slowest hiker in your job or your life? What obstacles are you facing that are holding you back from achieving what really matters to you? Okay, I leave that for you to think, and let's move on to the third part: progress. Create small wins. So here on the left, you see a cop giving positive redeemable tickets to people who do good things, such as driving in speed limit, throwing away trash in the bin, wearing helmet while riding bike. Richmond Police Department did this experiment and was able to cut down spiraling youth crime and recidivism that stayed at 65% for so many years of forcing stricter rules and zero tolerance. A positive ticket that he gave to this little kid for saving a teenager girl from getting into an accident made him so confident. The cop told him, "You can make a difference." He never actually used that ticket, but instead he framed it and put it on the wall in his room. That gave him the confidence and the power to do something that could make a difference when he grows up. How impactful that is. Progress. Visually reward progress. Do you remember when when you were 5 years old and your school had a fundraiser? Remember the big thermometer that visually showed the progress the school was making towards the goal? Can you remember how exciting and motivating it was to watch the level of the thermometer go up each day? Or perhaps your parents had a star chart for you when you ate your spinach, or went to bed on time, or cleaned your room. You got a star, and pretty soon you were doing these things without any prodding. There is something so powerful about visibly seeing progress towards a goal. And here on left is a star goal chart. So write down your goals and then give yourself a star every day. And keep a goal. Once you get this many stars, you would buy something yourself that you love, or you would go out on a trip that you always wanted to go. How amazing! So, a non essentialist would start with a big goal and get small results. An essentialist starts small and gets big results. Non essentialist goes for the flashiest wins, whereas an essentialist celebrates small act of progress. Okay, the next part in this is flow. Routine is one of the most powerful tools for removing obstacles. Without routine, the pool of non essential distractions will overpower us. But if we create a routine that enshrines the essentials, we will begin to execute them on autopilot. Scientific research explains the mechanism by which routine enables difficult things to become easy. When we repeatedly do a certain task, the neurons or nerve cells make new connections through communication gateways called synapses. With repetition, connections strengthen and it becomes easier for the brain to activate them. Once the mental work shifts to the basal ganglia, mental space is freed up to concentrate on something new. And in this way, we can fight the decision fatigue. A non essentialist tries to execute the essentials by force, whereas an essentialist designs a routine that enshrines what is essential, making execution almost effortless. A non essentialist allows non essentials to be the default. Essentialist makes the essential the default position. Next part is focus. Non essentialist mind is spinning about the past or the future, whereas an essentialist mind is focused on the present. A non essentialist thinks about what was important yesterday or tomorrow. Essentialist tunes into what is important right now. A non essentialist worries about the future or stresses about the past. Essentialist enjoys the moment. So, multitasking versus multifocusing. Sure, we can do two things together, such as watching TV and texting on cell phone, but we can definitely focus or concentrate on two things at the same time. So, have to be in the now. Figure out what is most important right now. Center yourself to present by writing what is most important now for you. Get the future out of your head. Write down things that are important, but not just now, so that you can visit them in future and check them off as they are done. In this way, you can move your attention out of future things lingering on your head to the present. Prioritize. Now prioritize things on your list and check them off one by one as they are done. Thank you. This was the last part of the Essentialism video series. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please put them down in the comment box below. Thank you so much.